Good morning, everyone. We are now live. Welcome to the Tuesday, November 5th, 2024 Elyria Planning Commission meeting. Call to order, Mr. Aden, Mr. Battle.
Present.
Mr. Hubbard.
Here.
Mr. Anderko.
Here.
Director Podolsky.
Here.
Mayor Brubaker here, and Mr. Tedrow is not. Okay. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to the approval of the minutes as distributed for October 1, 2024.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Hubbard. Second by Mr. Podolsky. Any further questions? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. There's no miscellaneous correspondence, no new business, no old business, so we'll jump right into the public hearings. The first one this morning is 2024-100147, Ridgewater LLC, 260 South Logan Street, Elyria, Ohio, 44035. Request for a rezone from BN Business Neighborhood to RMD, Residential Medium Density District on Brunswick Drive. Are there any proponents? State your name and address for the record, please.
Robert D. Yost, 260 South Logan.
Go ahead, Mr. Yost.
We're proposing to purchase or have an agreement for 6.9 acres on the corner of Brunswick and West Ridge, where we would like to put 50 units, which would consist of 12 four-unit buildings and one two-unit building, similar to what we've done at Ridgewater and what we're doing at Windsor Place. We've done them at Oak Tree. The density requirement, better than almost 50% of the property will be left green space, open space. I think it's just under 50%. And it would require the rezoning request to go from a business neighborhood to an RMD district. And it would follow up with a conditional use for the cluster subdivision.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions from the commission? Are there any proponents? Are there any proponents? Are there any proponents? Are there any opponents? Are there any opponents? Are there any opponents? Please come forward and state your name and address for the record, please.
Hi, my name's Caroline Katinsky. I live at 9126 Westridge Road, Elyria, Ohio. And I was wondering, what kind of, are these like Section 8? Are they going to be regular?
No, they sell free zone.
Okay, are they? Okay. And then the water drain off, where would that go?
Retention.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any opponents? Are there any opponents? Are there any opponents? Seeing no more, I'll entertain a motion to approve public hearing case 2024-100147 for the request of a rezone from business neighborhood to residential medium density district on Brunswick Drive. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Anderko. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Director Podolsky. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by the aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. And I apologize, I will for the record, Mr. Farkas is not here. He did recommend the rezoning be approved, and I don't believe there was any comments from the engineer or the fire department. Next item on the agenda is public hearing 2024-100150, Ridgewater LLC, 260 South Logan Street, Elyria, Ohio, 44035. Request for a conditional use for a cluster subdivision. Are there any proponents? Mr. Yost?
And again, with Darrell's absence, because he would have filled you in on all this, when you do rezone to the RMD, it does require that you have the conditional use for the cluster, and it's just a tag onto the original ones.
Okay. Are there any proponents? Are there any proponents? Are there any opponents? Are there any opponents? Are there any opponents? I will read from Mr. Farkas's report. His staff recommendation is I recommended the petition for the conditional use. Mr. Farkas, by the way, is our chief building official. For the conditional use and variance be approved as the developer has chosen to provide larger side yard setbacks between the units and has also adjusted the building perimeter setbacks to coincide with strict code regulations of Section 1179.04C. This effort, in my opinion, maximizes the area provided and attempts to comply with the spirit and intent of the zoning code. Staff reports. Anything from community development?
No additional comment.
Engineer?
Engineering has no comments.
And fire marshal.
Thank you, Chair. Through you, I've reviewed the conceptual plan submitted for a new subdivision. The fire department concern is a proposed street width at 24 feet. Codified ordinances of Elyria, street should be a minimum width of 28 feet. During an emergency event, accessibility is paramount. Streets less than 28 feet are more susceptible to fire lane obstruction, and as fire marshal, I stand opposed. If commission members grant conditional use of this as a subdivision, further issues will be addressed during the construction plan review phase. Thank you.
Thank you, Assistant Chief Call. Mr. Yost?
The past 5 subdivisions that we've done of like kind are private streets, and they are 24 feet. So this would not be a public street. It'll be private.
Thank you, Mr. Yost. Any questions from the commission? Seeing none, I'll entertain our approval for 2024-100150 Ridgewater LLC, 260 South Logan Street, request for a conditional use for a cluster subdivision. Do I have a motion to approve? Moved by Mr. Battle. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Underko. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carried. The next item on the agenda is public hearing number 3, 2024-100153, Fleet Management, 4152 Ford Lane, Vermillion, Ohio, 44089. Request for a rezone of property at Brace Avenue and Lorraine Boulevard from BN/RMD, Business Neighborhood Residential Medium Density, to BG Business General. Are there any proponents? Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Jason Hammond, 11400 West Lake Road, Vermillion, Ohio. I'm here on behalf of my client's Fleet Management. They're represented in the audience today by Julie Cox, who's Secretary of Fleet Management, and her husband, Bob. They reside at 4152 Ford Lane, Vermillion, Ohio.
Okay, and please proceed with the discussion on your project and why for the rezone.
Yeah, so if you're familiar with the property, right now it consists of 14 very small parcels that have frontage onto Lorraine, with Brace bisecting the property. So there's approximately 1.6 acres on one side of Brace and then almost 1 acre on the other side. Current zoning is split between RMD and BN for a portion of one side of the property. Just given the adjacent uses, with Action Door being immediately adjacent to the south, the Sprucewood Inn Motel, and then the Pepsi plant across the street, past marketing efforts for this property have just been unsuccessful given the current zoning designation. We feel that it's unlikely that those lots would be developed as single-family homes, or just given the acreage size in total, it'd be a really tight fit for any sort of multifamily units. So that's why we feel the switch to general business would yield the best results for that property to be developed to the city's benefit.
Okay. Are there any proponents? Are there any proponents? Are there any proponents? Are there any opponents? Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Brenda Davis, 684 Bell Avenue, Councilwoman in the 2nd Ward, concerned about this neighborhood business, changing it to business neighborhood. I'm concerned that if you change it, what are you trying to put there? This residents that live along there, they butt right up to the property, and we are concerned that if you change it, they could put what they want to in there, a gas station. You might even try to put them all in there. So we want to know exactly what you're trying to put there. Other than that, I need to know, or I'm not with this.
Thank you, Mrs. Davis. And after we get through the proponents and opponents, I'll read what business general is allowed there. Are there other opponent? Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Charles Miller, my wife and I live at 374 Parmalee. Just like the last lady stated there, we are concerned with what business may go there if it is rezoned. Recently, all of the property values were reassessed. Our property value at 374 Parmalee raised significantly, which in turn raised our property taxes significantly, and depending on what business would go in there, could decrease our property value, which I think we all know that the taxes would not decrease with that value. So in conjunction with that, I know there are a lot of parcels of land in the area. Right down there at Bell Avenue and Lorraine Boulevard, there is a motel that has been closed for about a year now. And on the other side, we have where the Days Inn used to be. We have a lot of land in the immediate area that obviously is already commercial land that could be, in my opinion, should be used for something like this instead of rezoning something. This is a neighborhood. And, you know, like she said, depending on what's going to go in there, if it's not going to benefit the actual neighborhood, I don't see where it should be rezoned.
Thank you. Are there any opponents? Are there any opponents? Are there any opponents? So if you'll bear with me here, again, Mr. Farkas is not here. I will read what R-MD and BN, which is business neighborhood, what this is currently zoned as. Residential medium density district, the requirements of which can be found in the Elyria Codified Ordinance, Chapter 1144. It is the purpose of the residential medium density district to establish and maintain high-quality areas within the city for homes with medium population density to preserve the existing residential neighborhoods characterized by single household residents. The principally permitted uses are as follows. Agricultural, provided that such use is limited to non-commercial farming of crops and non-commercial animal husbandry. Educational institutes, non-commercial recreation, religious places of worship, and single household detached dwelling units. That is what is partially currently allowed in that zoning district. The other half of that is business neighborhood district, requirements which can be found in Elyria Codified Ordinance, Chapter 1156. It is the purpose of the business neighborhood district to permit and encouragement the establishment of small convenience businesses and personal service businesses to locate in close proximity to the residential areas which they are serving. The location of a business neighborhood district and the nature of the limited commercial activity should be developed to avoid traffic congestion for the surrounding residential neighborhood areas. Principally permitted uses are child care facilities, clubs, educational institutions, financial institutions, neighborhood retail business, non-commercial recreation, offices, personal services, religious place of services, restaurants, provided seating capacity is limited to not more than 20 people, and any other use determined by the building inspector to be of the same general character as permitted uses. So again, R-MD and business neighborhood, that's what is allowed within there. What they are requesting is it be rezoned to business general or BG, and this is what is allowable there. Can be found in the Elyria Codified Ordinance, Chapter 1160. It is the purpose of Business General District to provide for the wide variety of needs for both convenience and the more common and often recurring shopping goods and household services. The principally permitted use include allied health facilities, automotive sales, child care facilities, commercial recreation, commercial schools, convenience business, dental and medical clinics, drive-in facilities, educational institutions, fast food restaurants, financial institutions, government buildings, health unit office, hospitals, hotels, motels, neighborhood retail business, non-commercial recreation, nursing homes, off-premises signs, offices, public parking area, personal services, printing and publishing, religious places of worship, research and development laboratories, residential, except detached dwellings of 3 households or less, restaurants, retail business, shopping center, taverns, veterinarian office, animal hospital, wholesale businesses, and any other use determined by the building inspector to be of the same general character as the above permitted uses. Again, all three of these zoning classifications can be found in the Elyria Codified Ordinance as provided by the building inspector. So with that being said, I'll open up to staff. Community Development,
No additional comment.
Engineer Schneider,
Engineering has no comments.
Assistant Chief Gall.
If commission members approve Fire Prevention Bureau issues, will be reviewed during the plan review phase. Thank you.
Okay, great, thank you. And Mr. Farkas, our Chief Building Official, was in favor of the request. Are there any questions or comments from the committee? Director Panowski?
I just want to confirm, this is all vacant land currently, is that accurate? Okay, all right, I'm looking at it, the auditor's site, that's what I see, I just want to confirm, thank you.
Can you reconfirm the acreage that is on each of these? I know there's multiple parcels, but within each side of that. And if you'd come to the microphone, please.
So again, the fleet management parcels are split by Brace. So the north side of Brace, my clients had a survey done that would consolidate the small parcels into one parcel on each side of Brace. The northern piece would be 0.9746 acres. And the southern piece would be 1.5701 acres.
Great.
And that's going to, just by the size of the land, that's going to eliminate a lot of those. You know, I'm an economic development consultant and site selector. I'm a real estate broker. So, you know, understanding what types of companies could locate here, again, is going to be dramatically restricted by the size of the property. You know, my crystal ball, I guess, would be, you know, probably some sort of small, you know, neighborhood retail, personal professional service, you know, small office, salon, you know, just basic neighborhood retail.
Great, thank you. Are there any other questions or concerns from Mr. Oswald? Please come forward. Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Kenny Oswald, 237 Pepperdine Drive, Elyria. The concerns of Ms. Davis, as far as the gas station, is understandable. I'm sure with the neighbors also. I don't know if the owners have an idea of what they would like to put in there. I guess you can see the comments. They want something that works with residential and things like that. I know you got to get the property sold. Building houses there isn't going to work, but it would be nice if you do decide to do something, choose a building that's going to go in there, that, you know, you'd be respectful of the neighborhood that's there. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Oswald. Mr. Battle?
I have a question. My question is, people talking about people in the neighborhood, does this also include the people that live on Warden and other streets around it, or are you just talking about Brace only? Curiosity. What about neighborhood? Is it just Brace? What about people on Warden and other?
To you, I'm speaking for the whole neighborhood, and I have someone other that lives in the neighborhood that lives over on Morgan in the vicinity that's concerned about this property also being turned into something that's other than residential. And then while I'm talking, years ago, if I'm not mistaken, FEMA was part of the area over there. So we need to look into that too, because if I'm not mistaken, FEMA at the turnpike and come up under there, and they removed there was a lot of flowing in that area. The reason they didn't really want to build there, because FEMA had the control, and the property insurance was so expensive. So I think we need to look at that too, with what you want to put there, because see what FEMA has to do with it. It has something to do with the turnpike and the way the water flow up under the road, going down all the way to the tracks in that area. And I was part of that back in the day, over about 15 years ago when FEMA came through here. And they took up Warden, Parmalee, Brace, all the way to Morgan, down all the way to the track. So I think we need to look into that too before we go further.
Any other questions? I do want to reiterate, as a part of the R-MD and the BN, a lot of the things that are allowed in what is being requested is also allowed currently within there with obviously some changes. So are there any other questions from the commission? Would you come to the microphone so we can get that on record, sir? Thank you.
Just as you stated, a lot of the things that would be allowed with the rezoning would really be allowed there now. So from listening to what would be allowed there now, sounds like a lot of those businesses would benefit the neighborhood. So I don't see any need whatsoever to rezone this, this property. And I mean, for the record, I am 100% against the rezoning, for what that's worth.
Thank you. Director Panowski?
Yeah, I just have a comment. It's not so much a question, I guess. As I look at the map that was provided to us, I have less concern about commercial development along Lorraine, Lorraine Boulevard, but I do say that a couple of these lots go down Brace, and that is getting into the neighborhood. So I guess I'm less interested in as that makes that turn, because that's where the houses are going to start. There is some commercial businesses along Lorraine Boulevard, so I see that less of a conflict. But as you go into the neighborhood down the street there, I do have less desire to see commercial development there for what it's worth, so.
Any other questions from the commission? Yes, ma'am, please come to the microphone.
Good afternoon. My name is Ramona Jackson, and I live at 205 Morgan Avenue. And my question is, the area where they would like to rezone, it commercial business, what have you. But my question to them, if I may address him, have you all looked at property out by the mall that is zoned business? And all of the empty buildings out there and all the land out there? Have your company and the company you're representing, have you all checked that area instead of coming into a residential area? Okay, because if it's residential, let's leave it residential, and let's build up the west side, not just the west side, every area of the city. Let's put houses. If houses can't go up there, let someone put up a garden like other parts of the city does. So that's my concern, because I would not like to see it zoned anything other than residential. With all the businesses out by the mall, and we all know the mall area. And there's just so many empty buildings out there. So that was my question. Have they looked in other areas, any other areas of the city other than a residential area? Thank you for your time.
Any other questions from the commission or comments? Mr. Hubbard?
If I can just have a better understanding, because I know we're talking about moving it from two, which of the parcels right now are residential medium density versus business neighborhood? My understanding is everything they're looking at moving to business general, but which are which?
Well, in the report Mr. Farkas shared, Block 1, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 parcels. They're all R-MD, and in Block 2, half are R-MD, and the other half are B-N. Barry? It would be in the plan.
That was included with your packet, I think. Yeah, that's pretty illustrative. Look, it helps.
Any other questions, Mr. Hubbard? You're good? Any questions from the commission? Okay, I will entertain a motion to approve the rezoning, or we'll go with the public hearing number 2024-100153, Fleet Management, requesting a rezone of property at Brace and Lorraine Boulevard from B-N/R-MD, Business Neighborhood Residential Medium District, to B, yes. Mr. Craig?
It's within your discretion.
Please, yeah, I'd like to hear.
So just to address the concerns that the Safety Service Director mentioned, my clients would be willing to maintain the RMD on the parcels that go up Brace on the south side, and then just have the parcels that front along Lorraine be the general business, just to address some of the concerns of the residents and then, some of the comments here. So what we would look at is a total of 3 parcels instead of 14, with one parcel being the area north of Brace. Parcel number 2 would be the area south of Brace that fronts Lorraine, and then parcel 3 would be those lots along Brace. Or if, again, just to
Through the chair, if he's withdrawing certain parcels from the application, we should spell out those parcel numbers.
Yeah, so help me understand. It's all 4 of these?
right, so we'd say this would be one parcel,
Okay,
or I guess we could keep them at that.
But this wouldn't be changed as zoning, so
Right.
not here, not here, not here,
Right.
not here. I'm going to put this on the overhead once we
Yeah.
get it figured out.
And then one parcel that would be general
Okay.
business, and then
General
one
business.
parcel general business.
I'm going to put it on the, yeah, give me a second. Let me just, okay, so this up top here
Yeah,
again?
so that'd be one parcel,
Okay,
general business,
okay.
one parcel general business.
Is this included in this parcel then, the one lot there?
Yes.
Okay, so,
Mhm.
okay,
Yeah.
so that would all be that. So general business.
Mhm.
Just bear with us as they're looking at the map so they can put it up on the screen here.
And this would stay 4 individual parcels.
Stay RMD.
R and D.
RMD,
Okay, got it.
which would be the existing.
Okay,
Okay.
so, Mary, on here, do you want to do that?
Hi, Mary, it's nice to meet you.
Yeah, go get IT, because I don't know.
Yep, okay.
Okay, for the folks online and for the audience, if you want to kind of share what you were trying to share verbally with the picture now?
Yep, absolutely. So again, in recognition of some of the comments and concerns from constituents in the area, what my client would like to propose is that, as mentioned, the parcels here along Brace, that they would just maintain their current zoning, which is RMD, but then just limit the general business zoning designation to those parcels that front along Lorraine. And again, that would be consistent with neighboring uses as well. And then this section right here is already zoned neighborhood business.
And to be clear, I asked you this, but I'll ask it on the record. There is the one parcel in the northern grouping there that's along Brace that you would intend to include in the entire, so that one's not accepted, because technically it is along Brace. So you've already answered for me, but I want to make sure that everybody understands. That parcel on the northern block would be part of the general business kind of grouping. So it's just the 4 on the southern portion that you guys would exclude from the request that you've made here today.
That's correct.
Thank you.
So these 4 parcels here would maintain their current zoning as RMD, residential medium density. These parcels here, 6 parcels, would be consolidated into one and have general business. And then the parcels along here would be consolidated into one with a general business.
And what about the ones on the southern part of where you're leaving the 4 RMDs? Sublot 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Those are not owned by my client.
They're not, that's not a part of this, okay. Is there any conversation from, yes, sir?
My understanding is, pointer out here. So this gentleman's client currently owns area here, this lot, 1 lot here, and these 4 lots here. Okay?
Correct.
Now, to the best of my knowledge, the city owns this lot right on the corner here of Parmalee and Lorraine Drive, correct?
I'm not aware of what we own there, to be honest.
You don't own that, correct?
No.
Okay. I don't know to be honest with you, I don't know who owns that, but I know the city mows it a lot and stuff like that. There used to be a house along here. I'm still with my statement before. I'm concerned, regardless of the revision in the proposal, of the rezoning of this, simply because, I mean, you still have, other business, zone business on Lorraine Boulevard. And I think we all can agree that this neighborhood, and I know Ms. Davis probably agrees with me, this has been a struggling neighborhood for years, okay? And I'm gonna tell you, in the last 10 years, I have seen, especially on this end of that neighborhood, a lot of, people starting to upkeep their houses. A lot of things have been getting better. The city has, I know the building department has, sent a lot of letters to a lot of people to get this end of this neighborhood better. And in my opinion, I think it's getting there. And I strongly believe that this would turn that around and it would take it back down. Because, there's a lot of kids in this neighborhood. These kids depend, if we cannot put stipulations on what businesses would go in here, that's not gonna be good for this neighborhood. I'm just gonna stick with it, even with the revision. I am definitely opposed.
Thank you. Any other comments? Ms. Davis?
Thank you. It's also my concern of the neighborhood with the children. I get messages all the time about people even want people to slow down in the neighborhood. We put something else there. Also, if they had been concerned about our neighborhood, they would have been cutting their grass. I had to have the city out there constantly to cut the grass. They didn't think enough of us to even come and cut the grass, and now you want me to turn it into a business? I don't think so. So I'm not with this. I'm not agreeing with it. And if we want to do a poll with the whole neighborhood, we can, because we want to keep it as a neighborhood, to grow it as a neighborhood. We can put houses there, but first of all, I want us to check to see what FEMA is saying about that land and what it can do to us.
Thank you, Mrs. Davis. Any other comments? Any other questions from the commission? So to the proponent, your adjustment is as described that we have on the screen now, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So we do have a change to the request as shared. So again, I'll entertain a motion to approve 2024-100153, the request for rezone of property at Brace and Lorraine Boulevard, business neighborhood residential medium density to business general as described in the revised plan. Do I have a motion? Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Battle. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Hubbard. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. 4 ayes and 1 nay. I will be the nay. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is Planning Commission cases. We have one, 2024-100161, Che Beauty LLC, 372 Crestwood Drive, Elyria, Ohio, 44435, for 311, 315, 317 Broad Street, requesting a waiver of design review guidelines for replacement of wood windows and doors. Ms. Scott?
Through you, so the applicant is proposing multiple exterior renovations to these 3 properties. As noted in my memo, they're proposing to remove some existing wood trim elements, install ASEC panels, and to utilize contemporary materials, aluminum specifically for the windows and doors. For her structures located at 311, 315, and 317 Broad Street, removing wood trim elements and utilizing contemporary materials such as aluminum are both prohibited in the downtown design review guidelines. Therefore, waivers are being requested to allow her to proceed with these exterior renovations in this project as proposed. Community Development does support the request.
Thank you, Ms. Scott. Any comments from engineering?
No comments from engineering.
Comments from the fire department?
Fire department has no comment.
Are there any questions from the commission? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve Planning Commission Case 2024-100161, Che Beauty LLC, 372 Crestview, in regards to a request for a waiver of design review guidelines for replacement wood windows and doors. Do I have a motion? So moved. Moved by Mr. Underko.
Second.
Second by Mr. Hubbard. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Item number 9 on the agenda is the reports of design review applications that have been approved by design review. Is there any questions or concerns on those? Ms. Scott, any comments?
No additional comment?
Okay, great. Any staff or commission reports? Mr. Pronowski?
Mr. Craig, given the fact that this map was drawn on to illustrate the change and we don't have a list of parcel numbers, I'd like to enter it into the record and have Ms. Tomsky keep it with the records of the commission. Is that acceptable?
Yes,
Okay, I think it would be helpful to illustrate in case there's a question later on.
that could be an exhibit to the minutes, absolutely.
Okay, all right, very good. Well, I'll make sure she gets that before the conclusion of the meeting to add to the file.
Our next meeting will be December 3rd, 2024. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Moved by Mr. Battle, second by Mr. Hubbard. All in favor, aye. Aye. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.